Many years ago, a man came to a village in India to catch monkeys so he could sell them to zoos. The monkeys, however, were very clever and every sort of trap he set failed. Young boy watched the man's pathetic efforts and laughed. The man said, "If you can catch me a monkey, I will give you a good amount of money." The boy went to his home and took a clay pot with a narrow neck. He placed a few nuts around the pot and put lots of nuts inside. He then tied the pot to a tree. A band of monkeys soon discovered the nuts and the pot. One slipped his hand in the pot and grabbed a handful of nuts, but he couldn't pull his hand out of the narrow opening of the pot because his fist was clenched. The monkey panicked and started making loud noises because the monkey was unsuccessful in pulling off his hand from the pot. The boy and the man heard the noise. As they approached, they saw one monkey with his hand in the pot. The boy grabbed the monkey and the pot. The man was amazed and asked the boy of the secret of this monkey trap. Why was it so easy for the monkey to get his hand in the pot, but so difficult to get it out? The boy laughed and said, "The monkey could have easily got his hand back out and escaped, but he would have had to let go the nuts in the pot, and he wasn't willing to let it go. They never are." Today, people are getting enclosed by the trappings of success, by wealth, and by a limitless desire to acquire and hold of material things, even when the things they hold do not give them what they want or need. Like the monkey who derives no pleasure or nourishment from the nuts he holds in his hand, we can derive nothing of value from these. Many of us could improve our lives instantly by the simple act of letting it go. In today's gospel, Jesus exhorts us to enter the narrow gate in order to be saved. What is a narrow gate? A gate that is thin in its structure. Here, Jesus is using an analogy. Jesus is asking us to enter through the narrow gate. In order to enter the narrow gate, we must endure and give up many things. The narrow gate represents the entrance to heaven. The struggle to gain entrance into heaven entails foregoing personal care and pleasures, imbibing self-discipline, and accepting that which God brings to us, and following the Christian way. The Christian way is like a climbing up mountain pathway towards a peak that can never be reached in this world. It is a road of thorns, sufferings, pains, trials, and temptations, and persecution. Discipline, struggles, hard work, and sacrifices are part of being true Christian. A Christian who avoids discipline and sacrifice and instead loves that easy and comfortable life is not a true Christian. He cannot enter through the narrow gate. The first reading is taken from the book of Isaiah, chapter 66, verses 18 to 21, which was written the time of the return from exile. The aim was to console the returned exiles who were depressed when they saw the sad state of Jerusalem and the poverty of the country. Isaiah foretold the future glory of Jerusalem, to which people of all nations would come. The second reading is from the letter to the Hebrews. It reiterates that we must accept for the hardship because it is part of our training. We cannot win this prize unless we undergo this training. It is God who sends us these trials. He wants us to win the eternal prize because He loves us. He is our Father. By taking up our crosses and following Christ, we will be shedding off the irrelevant and routine attachments that make us too cumbersome and unable us to go through the narrow gate of heaven. This is the kind of discipline and suffering which are part of our journey to salvation. When we accept and unite our sufferings to that of Christ, then we are on the path of struggle to enter to the narrow gate. St. Paul expounds upon the narrow path in Ephesians chapter 4, verses 22 to 24, where he explains how a narrow is the gate. You were taught with regard to the former way of life to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made in the attitude of your minds, and put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. Let us examine ourselves whether we look always for an easy road to travel. Are we ready to face challenges that await in the narrow road? Do we often want to deny uncomfortable truths, or are we pleased to be what is comfortable? Are we ready to give up the things that hinder us to be saved? Are we prepared to put off our old self? We may think whether it is possible for us to enter the narrow gate. Yes, it is possible with the help of Jesus. He is shown as the example. He always chose the narrow road and was ready to suffer for our sins. The narrow road that he chose is on the cross, which we celebrate every day in the Eucharist. During this Eucharist, may Christ help us to enter through the narrow gate. Amen.